My last few videos were all about AI this and AI that, but understanding how these models work and who's the mastermind behind them doesn't really make these chatbots much more interesting. Let's switch it up a bit. Always talking about AI but never building anything useful with them. It's like wearing Jordans but not knowing the rules of basketball. So for my 1000 subscriber special, I thought maybe let's build something useful with AI. With AI. I'm not shooting a video about how to train your own llama models. Duh. So I will guide you on how to code any AI-powered application in under 15 minutes. Let's dive into it, shall we? What we're gonna do today is solving a problem that we already have. In my case, I'm a YouTuber. You shoot your video, edit the hell out of it, create a masterpiece, and then you need a thumbnail. And you create a thumbnail, but are you really sure that the colors play along? The message is really clear, things like that. So it would be really nice to have an application that assists you with these questions by rating your YouTube thumbnail for various aspects. You can use various AI models, Claude from Anthropic, Llama from Meta, or ChatGPT from OpenAI. Today we will use the latter, and we have already our Assistants API overview right here. So assistants are like your own derivatives from ChatGPT, which expose an API that allows your applications to communicate with it. It's like a custom GPT you know from the marketplace, but interactable with HTTP requests. So let's see. The Assistants API allows you to build AI assistants within your own application. An assistant has instructions and can leverage models, tools, and files to respond to user queries. The Assistants API currently supports 3 types of tools: code interpreter, file search, and function calling. The Assistants API is in beta, and we are actively working on adding more functionality. Share your feedback on the developer forum. So what we do here is we will build an assistant, and then we will write the code to create threads in that assistant, create a run on that thread, send a message to this run, and get the last response from the assistant to this message. And we will do all of this in less than 70 lines of code. I already created an assistant. It's called an untitled assistant. Let's enter a user-friendly name. Create my thumbnail. The system instructions. This is the part where we customize our assistant, and I drafted already an instruction for this assistant, but we will go through it line by line. So I want my agent to act in the following context. The purpose is you're an expert system and your goal is to help to optimize YouTube thumbnails to increase engagement and click-through rates. You asked me to upload my thumbnail and share the video title. You focus on key elements like composition, how well the elements are arranged, color, whether the colors are eye-catching, and so on. Text readability, if the text is clear, easy to read, and placed effectively. Title relevance, how well the thumbnail and the title work together to convey the video's message. Description relevance, more or less the same. Suggestions for improvement. You suggest specific improvements to enhance the thumbnail's appeal. Suggested tags. You suggest YouTube tags that will potentially give this video good SEO, both for YouTube search and also for discovery via Google search. Your feedback is objective, encouraging, and easy to understand. You avoid technical jargon and focus on the general aesthetics and design principles. Additional info if needed. You ask for more details or a higher quality image to give the best possible advice. This could be problematic, but I think we can try it that way because I don't want to have a conversation. I want to have a prompt and a final response to this, so I can use it like an API. The goal is to make the feedback helpful and actionable so you can create thumbnails that attract more viewers. Don't start with introductory sentences like, "Thank you for submitting your information, let's break them down," or comparable. Don't end the response with an outro sentence like, "Let me know if I can help you further." Just stick to the information of the rating of the thumbnail. Because we all know ChatGPT is always a sucker for politeness, but we don't want that here. We just want an API that responds to us like a robot. So I just want it to act like the robot it is. Okay, let's save that. So the model we can choose from GPT-4o Mini, GPT-4o, and all of these models. O1 is still not supported, but that's not a shocker. So let's stick with GPT-4o. The temperature is okay. The top P is also okay. Let's play around with it a little bit. So I will upload a thumbnail and say title, "The Most Hated Man in AI." Description, video about Hinton of AI. Let's see how it works. Alright, composition. The thumbnail has a dynamic layout with various elements such as photos, text snippets, and central figure partially obscured by a bold red banner. The complexity draws attention. Yada yada yada. We have color, we have text readability, title relevance, suggestions for improvement, description relevance, suggested text. Looks pretty solid to me. We got our assistant. What's next? we want to communicate with our assistant. So use the API. It's time to draft our code. There are two types of people in the world who wants to rapidly prototype. The ones that are using Python and me. So let's start with our JavaScript. What do we want to have in this script? We want to upload a thumbnail file to OpenAI. We want to prepare a thread with a message, and we want to create the assistant thread, and after that send the message and get the latest response from threads. Let's start with uploading the thumbnail file to OpenAI. First of all, we want to install the OpenAI dependency. For this, we need to have a npm setup. So let's just draft npm init. Yep. And that's fine. We got our package JSON right here. I don't need the script. We are just prototyping in here. We will first check our API, and after that we can transfer the logic that we've written here into our application. But let's start simple before fighting with the boilerplate of Next.js and things like that. Now let's install OpenAI. Then we need to import it. OpenAI from OpenAI. We want to create the OpenAI object, and we need an API key for that. This is our OpenAI client, and we want to use the file upload now. Let's go back to Arc and check how we would do that. We have the API reference here. Files are used to upload documents that can be used for features like assistance, fine-tuning, and batch API. Upload a file. Let's just copy this from here. Const file, await OpenAI files create. This will be our thumbnail. So let's say thumbnail.png. The purpose can be assistance, vision, batch, or fine-tune. Yeah, we are using vision for assistance image file inputs. So let's roll with it. Vision. I hate semicolons. So what's missing is we are using fs, so we have to import it too. Import fs from fs. Let's just pass a thumbnail file in this directory right here in the root. Let's just add this one here and rename it to thumbnail.png. So the API key is nothing specific to your assistant, but to your OpenAI account. You just go to OpenAI, click your picture here, your profile, use the API keys, and create a new one. We create a new secret key, rate my thumbnail. I will just allow it to all. And don't even worry, I will delete this one before uploading this video, so should be safe. And we will paste it here. So now let's try to upload an image to OpenAI. Let's see if this works. Node, index, and go for it. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. I have to put this into the package JSON. Yeah, seems to work. We can even verify if it works, because we would have returned this file, and we can just log uploaded file and the file.id successfully. Yeah, we see it here. Uploaded file, this is the ID, successfully. So this works great. Next up, prepare a thread with a message. Let's check the assistance overview once again. Now we want to create this thing, the thread of the assistant. What we want to do is to create a non-empty thread. That is, we want to include our custom prompt and the image we just uploaded to the thread. So let's do that. Message. We need to give it a role of the executing context, which will be a user in this case. And the content of the thread is as follows. We have different types of inputs. The first one will be a text. The type is text, and the text is something we want to prompt there. Maybe something like rate this thumbnail with respect to this video title. And then we will add the video title here and also this description. Let's just make placeholders for these. Okay. So this will be our custom prompt here, and we want to also add the image we just uploaded. So let's do that. The type of this one is image file, and image file will be file ID, the ID of our file we just uploaded here. So this is like the command blueprint for creating the assistant thread. Now let's create an assistant thread. Wait, OpenAI beta threads create and pass the messages in here. In this case, we only have this one message right here that we want to pass in there. The next thing we want to create is a run. So let's do that. Await OpenAI beta threads runs create. So there's the possibility to create a run and then later check for it to have responses, or create and poll. Create and poll will just wait until there's the first run. I like it better to be synchronous, to be honest, because asynchronous stuff just makes more complexity. So let's do it like that. Yeah, we need the thread ID. So let's store this in an object. So we get the thread ID. And what we also need is the assistant ID, which we can easily retrieve from our assistant right here. So let's paste this into our code, just like this. And now we gotta run. But what will we get when we block this run? Run created, run is, let's try it out. So we uploaded the file successfully. And now we have created the thread and the run. It has a run ID, an object, I created a timestamp, the assistant ID, the whole instructions of our assistant, the prompt tokens, the completion tokens, and the total tokens, things like that. So that's clearly not what we want from it. So what we need to do now is to get the last message, the last response from this run. And I'll just make it short here. Here's a function that gets the thread ID, and we wait and get the messages from the thread for this ID as a list. We take the first item out of this list because it is a stack and the topmost item is the most recent one. That's a response message ID. And with this response message ID, we can retrieve the message for this thread ID, and the message will have some kind of content, but it's mostly only one object in it. And the text value will be our response, which we will return here. We will create a response object and await this function with our runs thread ID. Retrieve the response, and the response will be most probably a string. Let's try it out. Let's add some more logs here. We have created a thread here. Thread ID is thread.id. Run created. Run ID is run ID. And at the end, we retrieved the response. Send message and get latest response from assistant thread is like everything after this block here. Let's try it out. So we uploaded the file, created a thread with this thread ID right here. We retrieved a response with some markdown, I guess. Let's write this into a file. Write file response.markdown. It will contain the response, and for the callback, I don't want to do anything. Let's run it once again. We uploaded the file, we created a thread, we create a run right now and poll for it to exist. And shortly after that, we will write into the markdown file. We have our response. Beautiful response. Thumbnail review. Composition. The elements are organized to create a narrative around Jeffrey Hinton and the theme of controversy. The central image with the face blurred out and the text over it directs attention where needed. Color. The red in Hated grabs attention and contrasts well with the muted background. There is something about text readability, something about title relevance, description relevance, suggestions for improvements, and suggested tags for better SEO. It still finishes up with some closing sentence, but I'm sure we can get rid of that. That's my dog, she's fine. We have our whole interaction with the assistant in less than 70 lines of code. Now let's check if we can build an application that looks just like this here. So what's the plan? We want to have an application. Let's just call it rate my thumbnail.ai. And this application should interact with the OpenAI assistant we just created, and we want that system to be written in Next.js. This setup seems pretty simple to me. We already got the code that is doing this. It's like 54 lines of code. That's easy. But the master plan is we will create the complete Next.js application line for line right here. And you'll also use AWS DynamoDB and S3 for special features, Supabase for authentication to achieve the following thing. Thank you all for 1000 subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you. Spread love in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.